At a $440,000.
Okay, it's January 10th, 2003. We're in Waynesville, Ohio, to interview Mr. Ernie England about his experiences in World War II. Ernie?
I'm Ernie England from, I was in Dayton at the time I was called in. And I live in Waynesville now. I have since '49. So I was drafted and I went to Fort Thomas. We were down there about a week. And we left Fort Thomas, went to Alabama, Fort McClellan, for basic training.
How old were you?
21.
So you were drafted in 1942
Yes.
when you were 21.
Yeah. And we got 12 weeks training in Fort McClellan, Alabama. And after training, we went to Drew Field, Florida. That's in Tampa. And we was down there a little better than a month. And we left there and went to California, Sacramento. And a 9-level signal company was formed out there. So we took some schooling there for about 6 weeks. Then we went overseas. And we stopped at Fiji Islands. We was there for about 4 days.
What school did you have in California, Ernie?
We took typing and just different things, nothing particular that any one thing.
Okay.
What was the responsibility of the Signal Corps?
The Signal Corps, there was two outfits formed out there in California. One was ground and one was air.
And you were to radio signals or messages?
Well, mostly we just we supplied the Air Force with mics and equipment, batteries and stuff like that. But the other outfit, they was ground. They laid wires and flying poles and stuff like that. But we didn't do that. We were
More of a supply than.
yeah.
Did you have to actually work on the plane to fix the radio? Or
No, we didn't.
you supplied them with what they needed?
We'd deliver stuff. We had usually one of us, someone would go with them. So when they'd fly to, someone else delivered parts like for airplanes or radio stuff. And you could always get, if you wanted to take a flight, you could always get every week go someplace. So
You could get a ride, huh?
yeah. And we left Fiji and went to Australia, Brisbane, Australia. And we was there a few days. They put me, we got there, our equipment was all marked boxes, and we had a color code. There was 3 or 4 different colors on it. And they picked me up to show the guys unloading the ship where to what boxes went to the signal corps. So he said, we'll get someone back and relieve you here in a little bit. And I was on there a little better than 2 days. No one showed up. But I made it all right. I got coffee, stuff, drink, then I got fish and chips. That was a big deal over there. And so we went to Townsville and we shipped on up to, or went to Brisbane, then we moved up to Townsville, and we was up there for about 18 months.
And you had a base established there with living quarters?
Well, there wasn't when we went in there.
You came, there was nothing there?
No. And it was dry, and it was about 110 degrees there. And we had to go out and dig for the hangars, the footers for the hangars. And everybody did that. There was officers, commissioned officers, they come in with hands blistered, you couldn't hold on to things. And it was a good while I got those things put in. But I was in the supply tent. That was, we gave out clothes, soap, or stuff like that, anything on. And I was in there, I didn't got out of the digging. But I'll tell you, there was only about 6 or 8 of us in there. But the other boys, they'd come in, your hands were just blistered something off it. But you go back the next day and did it again.
It was a desert climate. It's like
Yes,
what they
yeah,
call
it's real hot.
real hot and dry.
Yeah. And it didn't, when it rained for about 3 weeks straight, so. At that time, it didn't rain, there wasn't raining, so.
And all your supplies came in from on a ship,
Yeah.
and then you guys distributed things and
Yeah,
kept everything operating.
yeah. I was charged of receiving, well, there's 3 or 4 of us, and I had the job of going down and checking when stuff come in. And when it was in Townsville, it was, had about 4 stops. I go to the airport, train station, and down to the boat dock. Pick up stuff that was coming in.
What kind of planes did your part of the Air Force have there in those hangars?
Well, we used that for supplies. They did build them, but what we built was for our own use, for supplies.
So you didn't have airplanes flying in and out like on bombing runs or anything?
Well, the airport was right close. We were at the end of the airport. And there was large planes come in there. We had all kinds.
And you were supplying the military that was in the South Pacific?
Well, yes,
So the Marines, other
Well,
people
just
that
on
were...
signal stuff. It was like radio equipment and stuff like that.
And there was a lot of that?
Yeah.
How much equipment? Give me a feel for like a room full of equipment? Several rooms full that you guys had to manage just to...
Well, the hangar I was in, we had, it was probably 200 feet long. And how wide is those things, George?
Oh, probably 50, 60 feet at least.
Yeah.
Or more.
And we had, I worked in one week, and we had it pretty well full. We kept bringing stuff in as we shipped it out.
So that's a lot of signal equipment.
A lot of
It gives you some idea, that's just one part of the supplies that were needed.
Yeah,
Just one little part, and it was
yeah,
a huge hangar full just of signal
Yes.
equipment.
yeah.
And also was there clothing and ammunition at the facility in other hangars or in other places, or it was just...
Well,
Air-
there might have been others, but they wasn't in ours. It was most just signal radios and tubes.
So there must have been a lot of planes.
First radar we got in there, we came in on trucks. And we went down to the dock. And, I'd never drove a big truck before. And the guy in charge, the outfit, so he got some driver. He said, I need you to drive a truck. And I thought, well, I figured it was one of those 2.5 tons. I thought I can drive that. So I said, okay. So we went down to the dock and pulled them things out. Them trailers must have been 30 feet long.
Sure, at least.
And radar was mounted on there. You didn't. And so we drove those things up in Townsville. And he said, we're going up to the top, and Townsville was kind of on a hill. So we drove to the top of that thing. And coming back down there, it's wonderful. We all got killed because some of them tried to gear them down. And it was a mess. But we made it all right.
Did you run into anybody?
No, didn't run into anyone, but well, there was brakes squealing and gears, guys trying to shift gears, and think back over it, I didn't think much of it at that time, but now it could really be scary. Operate something like that.
How many folks were in your little group?
190, about 93.
Were you in charge?
No, I was in charge of receiving and
You were in charge
warehouse.
of receiving.
Yeah.
What was your rank, Ernie?
Sergeant.
And you were over there from 42 to 45 to the end.
Yeah. Well, we had, in the States, I was here about 6 months before altogether.
How aware were you guys of the whole war? Like what was going on everywhere? Did you get a lot of information?
No, not a whole lot.
So you just went along with your business and you didn't really know day to day how things were shaping up or how the U.S. team was doing out there in the world?
Well, I didn't get too much information.
That's right.
Very low.
Did you ever worry about it? Did you ever
No,
think?
I look back, I can't hardly believe that I didn't have a bit of trouble in there. I got along good with everybody, and I got breaks that I look back and I don't know how I got them, but thankfully I did.
You had a good job, didn't you? Better than a lot of folks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did you guys ever worry, like, what would happen if we didn't win?
No.
We were gonna win.
You just didn't even think that possibility existed?
No.
Never, never.
What?
And where we were, we was bombed several times, but in the Philippines it rained just like it did in Australia, just rain, mud. And the couple of times that we were bombed, they were little personnel bombs, they wasn't probably 10, 12 pounds. But when they hit that mud and just didn't have a chance to do much damage.
So
Did
they
you?
sunk in? The bombs when they hit the mud?
Yeah.
So they didn't really do...
No, the 2 times I didn't get, there were some of the guys got scratched up pretty good with it. The one guy, he was tough sleeper. He was one to get up for anything hard. And we all had box holes. We'd get the siren or we'd get the box hole. But he didn't go. He laid in bed. And the snuff that shrapnel would cut his, you had to have mosquito nets over. And I cut that mosquito net and just fell down on him. But he had a box hole the next day.
Did you go from Australia? Did you go island hopping to the Philippines?
Well, we were supposed to go straight to the Philippines, but we got up in New Guinea, and I don't know, there was ships up there in that harbor that, as far as you could see. And we was up there 83 days on the ship. They rationed toilet paper. You'd get 12 little sheets at a time. My buddy, when we left Australia, he said, "Just don't shave till we get up there." And I thought, well, it won't be that long. Didn't think it'd take as long as it did for us going over. So I said, okay, we'll do that. So we got up there and laid over 83 days, and that was driving me nuts. I said, man, I can't stand that.
Did you have a beard down to here by then?
Yeah, well, I kept it cut a little bit so it didn't get too long. And he said, well, go ahead and cut it off. And we had those old PAL razor blades, and they were rusty, and I never had such time in my life trying to. I cut them with scissors and I shaved.
That was before beards were common,
Oh, yeah.
and in service you didn't have beards often.
No. But I can't say it. I had a good life there.
How was it when you finally got to the Philippines?
Well, it wasn't too good. But we had to set up our own tents.
And the weather there was similar?
Yes,
Hot.
it was hot up there.
Steamy?
Yeah.
Set up your little camp again?
Yeah. And we was always right close to the airfield. And but they would never shoot at those planes when they come over at night like that, because there's a lot of times they call it a milk run. And they would come over every night about the same time and just late about 2 o'clock in the morning and just wake you up and get you shuck up. So they'd never shoot at them because they was trying to get you to find out where your position was.
That's exactly right.
And but one Christmas we had we was there on Christmas, and they was going to show us a movie. So we was watching that movie that night, and one came over. And these ships from out in the harbor, he let off 2 or 3 shots of those, and those bushes seemed like you could feel them, the air from it shot, and you could feel the pressure of those things when those trees went through. That was the only time I ever saw them.
Did you have any interaction with the people on these islands?
Yeah, they were nice. They were nice people.
Did they work with you?
No, they
stayed away? They were you just ran into them occasionally in town?
Yeah.
And Americans were received pretty well?
Yeah, we were treated well.
What about on Fiji? Was it like a wild island?
Well, yeah, it was something else. On the way over, well, we was out about 3 days out, and on the bullhorn, the guy in charge of the ship come on. He wanted to pick, he called 3 names, said to report up to him, and we didn't know what it meant, so we went up there, and he said, well, we're going to be in a convoy so far now, and said we're going to break convoy and go to Australia. And he said, when we do, everybody's on his own. Said, I want you guys to watch and see if no one throwing stuff over where it could be picked up, or light. You weren't allowed smoke or heavy lights on the ship. And he said, I just want you to kind of watch for that stuff and report up to me 8 o'clock the next morning. So every morning we'd report up to him. But, I never had turned anyone in and never caught anyone smoking, because he said just as much to your advantage as it is theirs, that if we get hit, everybody will go down. And I kind of enjoyed it. I'd go up there, call me up one day, and what have I done now? So I got up there and he said, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom. Said, you want me to stay in his office there? Said, there's fruit, cigars, and heavy stuff. But I think he went tucking out because he was on 2 hours. And, real nice. He was nice stuff. Colonel Huntington. I forget the name.
So was Fiji like a tropical paradise?
Yeah, yeah. But they had the tallest people there and they were nice too. They were guards. And they had nice uniform, most reddish, but they're barefoot, and they had big old long feet.
They were tall? That's what you remember? They were very tall people?
Real tall.
Or did they
And
have
by me having my past, like, was on the ship there, we could get off any time. We could pass all special guards or anything like that. So we'd go off in the morning, and the other guys had to go in groups. They'd go in around 30 guys with the commissioner officer. And we'd go off there. So I got off and I saw a little, then one in the bar, we'd always get off and go and drink beer. And met this little boy, and he was about 17, 18. And he showed me around through the town there and wanted me to go down and eat dinner with him. And I said, no, I don't know. I said, what are you going to have? He said, worms. And I said, no, I don't believe so. And I asked him about his family, and he said his dad died from poisoned frog. I guess he ate a frog that was poisoned.
Did somebody poison him on purpose? Or was it just a bad frog?
Yeah, just not knowing. Yeah.
So it was a totally different world.
Yeah.
You were a young guy from Ohio.
Yeah.
Must have been an interesting experience.
It was. Not going to take anything for it. No one want to go through it again. But we were real happy we didn't have any bad trouble.
Were you in the Philippines when the war was over? Or where were you then?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we was on Lady Island, little town of Tacloban.
Tacloban?
Yeah.
So was I.
Was you there?
Was there a big celebration? Did
Well-
everybody just go on about their business?
Well, you mean,
When they said the war's over?
well, we heard that night there, yeah, everybody was carrying on pretty good. So, we had one guy, he was in another outfit there, and he was, his buddy, he'd always beat him up every time he get drunk, he would want to whip him. And this night, the guy didn't drink too much, so he got the other guy to drink it. Got him pretty well drunk, and he really turned on him.
Got him
That
back.
guy would beg him, said, "Don't do your kill him, don't hit me, don't hit me."
So overall, you had a good experience. What did you think of your leadership?
Great. We had good officers, never had any trouble.
People felt safe and well treated as
Yeah.
well as could be expected.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't expecting the Ritz, but you felt like you were treated fairly and.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had a nice outfit.
So you got drafted and you had to serve for 3 years when you got drafted?
Pardon?
If you got drafted, you had to serve for 3 years? Was that the
And I don't
rules?
think I don't know how long it was.
So they released you?
Yeah, I guess it
Oh, it
was.
was indefinite?
Yes,
So
wartime.
you
Yeah.
went in
Wartime.
and you had to stay in until the end?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was a duration.
There is in peacetime.
Well, there is, but there wasn't that. No, they called me after I went in, I stayed in there till it was over.
And when you got back?
Well, I got back and I worked at Dayton Tire and Rubber before I went in. And my brother was supervisor there, and when I come back, I was going to take a month or two off and just live it up a little bit before I went back to work. And my boss they had before I went in, he was down there with my brother that day at my clothes. And he said, "Come back next week." I said, "No, I'm going to come back next week." And he kept on and on, said, we really need people, said, "We need you." And I said, "Well, I won't come back now, I'll come back the following week." So I went back in the following week, and I worked, I guess, 34 years after that or something.
So was things different in America when you came back?
Yeah.
Compared to when you left?
Yeah, I think it was.
In the beginning of the war, we were coming out of kind of a depressed time, where a lot of people didn't have jobs, and the economy wasn't the best. And then, of course, after the war, things just took off.
Yeah.
All these servicemen came home, many of them got married, they went in a house, there was jobs, everything, was, all this industry that was started for the war.
Mhm.
I mean, that was all, a lot of that was new. And a lot of women and other people were working while the soldiers were gone.
Yeah.
So when you came home, was it different? Did things seem different around here?
Well, yeah, it was. It was much different, seemed like, than somewhere else.
And you were probably different.
Yeah, it probably was, yeah.
You probably grew
Yeah.
up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And your
Yeah, I
attitudes
did.
maybe about life and things. You saw a huge part of the world.
Yeah, I saw a lot of it, pretty sure. Like I say, I don't want to do it again, but I guess I would for the country, but
Sure you would.
Did you feel like your job was important and that you guys did a good job?
in the service, yeah. Mhm.
Well, that's good, because that probably makes it feel more worthwhile.
Yeah.
To know you were doing something that was important, keeping those airplanes flying was very important. I mean, air warfare changed so much in
Yeah.
World War II. And things have never been the same since. It was very critical. And,
But it's hard to believe that you'd use that much stuff like radio equipment. And when the war was over, before we left, we had to clean the warehouses out. And when we landed, we couldn't get into the shore. We landed, amphibious ducks. You saw those? Well, that's what. I think that was as close to as I come to getting killed when I was in there. It loaded us on those things, and the water was rough, and they took these nets to unload it.
Cargo nets.
Yeah. And they take that thing up, and we got on there and pulled on with the field pack, rifle, bayonet, and everything. And I got on, and he to take it up so far. Another group would get on. They go up a little further till they got that thing filled up. And he started over the top, and the railing on the ship, my shovel got caught in it,
Oh, my.
right underneath. And I kept stretching and another 2 seconds, I know I would have turned loose, because he didn't know it, no one else knew it. But his eyes pulled out of that shovel, and I made it. But
That was going onto a cargo ship or on a personal ship?
Unloading onto the dock, going in.
Oh, into the dock, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
when we landed in the
Okay,
Philippines.
I
Well,
understand.
what's a duck?
Well, Joe, go ahead.
Well, a duck is a amphibious craft that was also had wheels that we could land on the beach and proceed, but it also had a propeller.
So it's
on
like,
it. So
like
it
a
could-
raft?
And it was a amphibious plus a land craft is really what it was.
What was it made out of?
Well, it was steel, and it was probably 40 feet long and 15 feet wide for landing equipment, troops, and
So it would propel itself up
propeller
onto the beach?
onto the beach, and then
And everybody just-
then to take off on the wheels. Yes,
Yeah, just like a truck.
And then
Yes.
it kept on going?
yes,
And you didn't have to unload or get off? Like
And I-
you guys would unload the people?
right, right,
You would pull up, put the gate down, they would
Yes.
drive off, and then
Yes.
you would go back.
yes,
These continued on.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what the DUKW stands for now. I did at one time, but I really don't know now. That's how the duck got its name, but I really don't know.
And your shovel got caught
On the railing of the ship, the outside railing was stuck over a little. And as I went around, that shovel got caught underneath there. And he was pulling me right on up, and I stretched as far as I could stretch. And I was right over the duck when I
Sure.
was up down.
Well, that would have been
And I
serious.
went, I don't know, I guess
It's not
it's
fatal.
how many feet it was from there down to the water, but and I would have had to have turned loose another couple seconds, because I was stretching to the last point.
on. So that was your close
Yeah,
encounter.
Yeah, I think it was.
Did you get to swim in the beautiful water and go to the beach?
Yeah, when we laid in the harbor up in New Guinea there, Fort Moresby, I could say was there 83 days. And in the afternoon, we could go off swimming for 2 hours. And one day we went in and just got back in, someone looked out and saw a shark coming. And there's always someone fishing from the side. And he had a little line that looked like a 10-pound test maybe. And he'd caught a little fish or two, and he'd laid them down there. So he saw the shark coming, and he took it, didn't have any poles, just by hand. And he put this little fish on there and threw it out. And the shark just took a hold of it, but he could run off with that thing without, and did you know he kept winding, got him down on the side of the boat. And the captain went down and shot him, and we hoisted him up. He was over 6 feet.
Well, they,
Was it a type of shark that would attack a person?
Yeah,
Like a white shark or something?
yeah.
So did that make you think twice about swimming?
Yeah, I did. At that time, it didn't take long to forget it, though.
Well, it sounds like it was a good experience all around.
It was, and, yeah.
and then when you came home, where were you released?
Camp Atterbury, Indiana.
Yeah. And when?
That was November, I believe 15th or 16th.
45,
Yeah,
46,
45.
45? Very good.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, he was from Dayton also, and he said, well, we'll catch this train. I said, well, train doesn't leave till evening. I said, I'm going to get me a ride now. That was about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, oh, we can't get a ride. And I said, you going with me or you going to wait? And he said, well, I'll go. He said, we won't get the ride. So I got out there and just a couple minutes of this car stop. And it was a mayor from Toledo. And he was going to go Route 40 or 70, there was one here at that time, so he was planning on going 40, and he said, oh, I'll just take you on down. I said, not too far out of the way, so dropped me off right in front of my sister's place.
Pretty nice. That's great.
But
Most servicemen didn't have any trouble thumbing at that time.
no, but when we first went in Alabama, they sure didn't like soldiers down there. You couldn't get a ride.
Was it because you were a Yankee?
Well,
No, not
they just had so many soldiers there so long, it just turned out with them, I
Oh,
guess.
so they were sick of them, huh?
Yeah, but you couldn't get a ride. But we got to California, and like I say, we used to Fort McClellan Field, and those people get off in 4, 5 o'clock, and they line up out in front, waiting for us if someone wanted to ride. You never had to buy anything to eat or drink, or it was just it was 100% different to what it was done.
So people treated you well,
Oh yeah.
and they respected you and were proud of you when you came home. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it was real nice to us.
Anything else you want to tell us?
No, I guess that's about it.
Well, thank you for your service to our country.
Yeah.
And for
Thank you, guys.
talking to us today.
Very good, Ernie.